want you to just take a moment, think of something. It's interesting. We certainly have just celebrated Easter, a time where we all rejoice in the victory that our God provided for us. He's the one that achieved the goal. He finished the work. This is not something that we did for ourselves. This is something that we revel in because of what he's done. Our boast, if we have a boast, certainly not in ourselves. It's in the Lord. And I was thinking of that verse in 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1 that speaks of the hard times that the last days will be comprised of. And certainly I think you can identify with this. All of us can. This issue of these times where it begins with the thought in the list that men will be lovers of themselves. Just consider that for a moment. Because every bad thing begins when we divorce ourselves from the God who created us. It's interesting to me, in the book of Proverbs, there is wisdom, and she cries out, and she describes three what we might call aberrant personalities. There's the naive, there's the simple, and there is the scoffer. The naive is the simple. The scoffer is the person who's proud and arrogant. And then there's the fool who just simply hates knowledge. Consider that for a moment. If a person chooses to reject their relationship to the God who created them, they have no one else to love but themselves. Now, from that viewpoint, what we would realize then is that the God who created everything, and by the way, who sits on top of the heap, if you will, he is above all things. It's very clear that he is the one who came and humbled himself as a servant, now reigns and will return again to rule in Philippians 2:9 and on through 11. This is our God. He's been highly exalted. He rules all things. He is the one that is in charge. He's declared the end from the beginning in Isaiah 46:10. He's clearly in control. If we don't see it, it doesn't matter. It says very clearly there in Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 6 and on that right now we don't see all things under his feet, but they're under his feet. He's in control. It's an opportunity for us to live by faith. But think about it. If a person is a lover of themselves, they separate themselves from the God who created all things. They place themselves in that position, which means that the world is there strictly for the purpose of in some way relating, satisfying, having some aspect that is for their own preference and enjoyment. It may work out. There are those that are doing very well in this world that don't know the Lord. And that's apparently, in Psalm 17 and verse 14, their portion in this life. They're like the rich man who, when crying out for Lazarus to dip his finger in just a little bit of water and put it on his tongue, Abraham's explanation to him is that he lived in luxury while on the earth. He had his portion there. There are those. There are those who the world has not satisfied their demands. They're the victims of the world. Perhaps the very opposite of those that seem to be the victors of the world. They're the victims. They're the ones that it didn't work out. And everything is perceived through the screen of their own disappointment. Perhaps you and I have been there. I know I have at times. But the point is, when a person comes to Christ, they realize that it really isn't about me anymore. This is what the foolishness of preaching the cross is all about. It's that aspect that crucifies me to the world and the world to me, as it says in Galatians chapter 6. No longer is the whole point me. And as a result of that, it can reverse the way that I look at life. Life no longer is a challenge from the viewpoint that I have to succeed in everything I do. now life is an opportunity for me to experience Christ in everything. My challenge is to know him. My challenge is to find him in all the things that are going on in my life. My challenge is to remain faithful. Just simply to be, as Paul said in 1 Corinthians 4 and verse 1 and 2, to be found faithful. To be that servant that didn't lose sight, kept his eyes on the prize, I guess you could say. Isn't this what we want to teach those that we know and love? When Israel was called out in Exodus chapter 19 and verse 5 and on, they were to be a kingdom of priests. The fact that their nation existed and had such a relationship with the true and living God was to be a testimony to all the world. It's funny that that's exactly what God says about us in 1 Peter 2 and verse 4 and on, that we now are that nation. All of the believers throughout the world are that holy nation. Not that we've replaced Israel, but we have their, if you will, we've taken up their mantle from this viewpoint. We're here to represent Christ to a lost world. And how do we do that? Well, we certainly do that by doing the exact opposite of what the world tells us we should do. We don't trust ourselves. And we don't love ourselves. We love Christ, who loves us. And the love that we have for ourselves is in recognition of the love that he has for us, not our own self, our abilities, our distinct traits, or our, if you will, intellect, or our wonderful personality. No, it's about how Christ sees us. And now, the beauty of that is that when we're in the world, it's no longer about what I get out of this world. It's about me expressing the one who has given me life to the world. Look, I don't want my grandkids, and it's not an option, won't happen. My path has not been one of great success or any of these things. No great abundance of wealth, no incredible ability to achieve some, substantial goal that the whole world will have my name on the building for the rest of eternity or anything such as that. But what I hope I have taught those that I love is that I love the Lord with all my heart. And when I failed to do that, I failed them, not just myself. My goal has been to put him above all things. And the joy that I have with them is a joy of knowing them in Christ and seeing what Christ can do for them and believing Christ for them and encouraging them on in Christ. Till next time, friends, God bless you.